Diary, good morning. It's Friday morning, middle of April 2017. We're just trying to chronicle the events of our attempts to epoxy floor coat our new garage in England. So, as you can see, we have a concrete floored garage here, and the idea is we'd like to coat it with some paint to seal the garage, stop the concrete dust coming up, and generally make it look nicer. So, it's for aesthetic and practical reasons. We've learnt a lot in our Googling research to get this project started. Namely that whilst you can just choose a standard floor paint to do the job, the best thing to do is to have what's called an epoxy paint, which is a two-pack series of paints which you mix together and then they set harder in a few hours. So we have some paints here. I've got us trying to open the tin. The idea is that we're going to put these paints down. The floor's going to look wonderful, but we found out quite a lot of things about concrete floors. First of all, no matter how many times you brush a concrete floor, dust keeps coming up. So we've tried to clean the concrete floor by brushing and then by washing it, but as soon as you brush it again, after you've done all of that malarkey, more dust comes up. So we've finished today, after the brushing, washing, we've now hoovered it. Hopefully that's going to be as good as we can get. The next thing we found out is that there's a multi-layer process which we can get involved with to clean and prepare the floor and then coat the floor. Essentially, the recommended procedure would probably be to acid wash the floor, then put down sealer, epoxy sealer, then put down epoxy paint, and maybe put down a clear finishing coat on the top. So multiple parts to the procedure. Now we did buy the acid etching liquid, and we found out that we can't easily use it. Why? Because if we put the acid etching liquid down, then it would appear that this rubberized strip, which we can't get off because it's been very, very securely glued to the ground, will stop us getting out the acid. So we'd have to get the acid over this, and then we found out that the drain is all the way over there. So heaven knows what would happen to this nice paving if our acid had to make its way all the way over there. So we've had to can the idea of the acid etching the floor. But the idea of acid etching the floor is you put the acid down, it makes the concrete bubble, and then you brush it off and you wash it off as well, and then you have to leave it to dry. So that stage is gone. The next stage we are going to do, after the cleaning we've done this morning, is we're going to mix this paint together. Now we've gone to Regal Paints. Wish we'd gone to them for everything, but we've gone to a different company first. They then let us down, didn't have the sealer or primer, so maybe we can use a screwdriver to get this off, not the knife blade. So then it turns out that we've gone to Regal Paints. They seem to be much more professional on the phone. We're going to mix up this sealer. We have a thinner, but we don't think that the sealer, we're not confident that the thinner is compatible with Regal Paints, so we're not going to use the thinner. So we have to completely cover this garage with a 5-litre epoxy paint mixture. So we're going to do the epoxy paint mixture. We're going to edge it first, and then we're going to leave it to dry, and then we're going to do the top coat tomorrow. Now, another thing to notice is that epoxy paints come in two different types. There are solvent-based epoxies and water-based epoxies. So we've been told, quotes, the water-based epoxies are nowhere near as good. So we've made sure that both our sealant, if you like, undercoat is solvent-based, as is the top coat. And another thing to know is that you should buy an undercoat which is, let's say, a similar colour, but not the same colour as your top coat, so you can see where you've put it. So that's it. We're going to mix the paints, and what could possibly go wrong? Okay, speak to you later, Darry.